Hey guys, my name is Philip Buford. I'm a developer here in Bakersfield, California, and I'm going to talk a bit about hydrogen. So, what's hydrogen? Hydrogen is a React based framework from Shopify that allows us to build basically headless Shopify custom storefronts and gives us developers everything we need to build fast, personalized, and dynamic commerce experiences, e commerce Shopify experiences. And I wanted to quickly point out this article by Mr. Ilya Grigorik, who is a principal engineer at Shopify and an author of one of the books on high performance browser networking. So the guy obviously knows what he's talking about. And in this article, he mentions the word dynamic 18 times. So there's obviously a big focus on dynamic performance when it comes to the Hydrogen framework. And Hydrogen is a definitely opinionated framework. It comes shipped with Tailwind CSS, which I personally think is great. All of my recent favorite tech stacks all include Tailwind, so that's fine for me. And when we look at the architecture, Hydrogen is basically built on top of React 18. So it comes with all the cool React 18 features like streaming server-side rendering, progressive hydration, server components, data fetching on servers, the suspense component, and they also have React Router, which is different from Next.js, which uses more of a page-based routing system. And it's also interesting that Hydrogen is using Vite, which is built in Golang, whereas Next.js uses SWC, which is built with Rust. So it's definitely interesting to see the different choices of high performance languages there. And then Shopify includes, their custom components, hooks, and utilities, which we will be going over in some of the next few videos. And obviously there's TypeScript support. So why should we care about using Hydrogen? Shopify built Hydrogen for three needs, which is fast user experience, personalized dynamic commerce. And although it says a great developer experience, the trilemma that Mr. Grigorik is talking about basically involves long-term business conversion, retention, re-engagement objectives, which is like A/B testing and just website testing. So we can talk a little bit about how this is going to work. So when you're talking about streaming server-side rendering, when the client loads the page, you have time to first byte, the first and largest paints. And with client-side rendering, as you can see here, the time to first byte is fast, but the largest paint is a little delayed. And in server-side rendering, the time to first byte lands somewhere in the middle, but the largest paint is faster. And when you have streaming server-side rendering, it basically unlocks fast non-blocking first render. So all that means is it's going to squish the two processes together and run them side by side, which results in a faster time to first byte and first and largest paints, which is obviously better. And this is all powered by the suspense component, which I don't hear a lot about recently, but I do believe is going to be key in the next few years when it comes to React development. So then you have server components, and server components are for post-render updates. And we will also look into that a bit more later. And then you have Oxygen, which essentially will be Shopify's distributed global hosting solution. And if you are a company that's going to be using Hydrogen, you're likely going to end up also using Oxygen just because they have connected and streamlined the two so well. One thing I wanted to also note is, although it says it's going to be an easier developer experience, what this is also doing is adding a layer of decision-making when it comes to the development side, because you're now going to need to know when you should be using server components. When should you use shared components? When should you be doing client-side fetching? When should you do edge delivery? And these are all decisions that are going to be made by the developer. So there's going to be better developers that come from this and better performance. So in the next few videos, we'll be walking through the Hydrogen demo store and making a few queries using GraphQL and a couple of simple updates. So I will see you in the next lecture.